universe, the unseen firmament, and the corporeal worlds that float therein. Their actions and reactions on each other produce what we call life, which is but an effervescence that cometh and goeth, and there is the end. The laws are right. Han hath done a good thing in abolishing the doctrine of the ancients. Verse 26. While they were yet talking, God sent a blaze of fire into a bush standing nearby, and a voice spoke out of the flame, saying, Who then says, though I am? For verily I am. Verse 27. The governor saw the light, and beheld that the bush was not burnt. And he also heard the voice, but God suffered him to be hard of heart. And Haing said, Behold, thou comest to me, knowing I am a philosopher, and thou cast thy spell in the bush, like a magician. I am master of 1,000 books, and am registered as a man of great learning, thou hast offended me. Verse 28. Po said, Why accuse thou me? For it is not just for me to accuse thee of casting the spell. I cast it not. Verse 29. Again did God appear and speak, saying, Accuse thou not this my son Po. Thou shalt labor with him. Behold, I give into thy keeping the country of Phia. For even this hour hath died Mugwan. The tribe of Gan shall be gathered together in Phia, and Hinga and Hingandai. Verse 30. Seeing the governor was astonished at the words of the light, and he sent a servant to assert if Mugwan was dead, and it turned out to be true, though the distance was a day's journey each way. Now God's first book, chapter 4, verse 1 through 12. Seeing the governor sent for Asin to come and investigate the nature of Po. So when the three were together, God wrote in the sand the word Tin, and it was as if a flame of fire pierced the ground. Verse 2. Po said, From this time forth Tin shall be the name of the tribes who have faith in the Creator only, because he alone hath written it. Verse 3. Asing said, How can thou distinguish between which is written by the spirits of the dead and that which is written by the Creator? Verse 4. Po said, Light cometh in light, darkness cometh in darkness. Verse 5. Seeing asks, Says thou canst see the angels and the gods? Verse 6. Po said, I see the angels, but the gods I cannot see. Angels are like ourselves, but the gods are as a flame of fire. Verse 7. Now, while they were thus discoursing, a light in the form of a triangle came and rested on Po's head, and the word Tien was inscribed on the sides of the triangle. Verse 8. The governor said, What signifies this? And Po, being under the influence of the light of God, said, verse 9, Call me Tien, I am the Father, Rabbi, over all the living. I write in the sand, I speak in the mouth of my seers and prophets. He that ye call Po is my son, begotten for the deliverance of my chosen out of the bondage of Han, and his satellite, or subkingdoms. Verse 10. Behold, my people are imprisoned and tortured, persecuted and abused, and ye twine have kingdoms taxed for the glory of Han and his unrighteous works. Verse 11. Provide ye also triangles, and espouse me, and I will deliver your kingdoms also. Verse 12. Seeing and Asin both desire some pretext to throw off the yoke of the Han dynasty, and now lent willing ears to the instructions of Po and the voice Tien. Now Po was instructed to carry the oral law. Verse 13. Accordingly, the learned men of these provinces were called together to learn of God through Po, the mysteries of earth and heaven, and especially as to the great monarchy. Verse 14. When these counselors were assembled, God cast his light upon Po, and they all saw it, and the words Po spoke were called God's word, Vedi Or. Word by word learned they the wisdom of God, repeating them over and over, which was called learning by the mouth, being in contradiction from learning by books or tablets. Verse 15. God said, Great trials will come upon my people. The kings will seek to destroy the doctrine of the Lord and thy God. Tien. Verse 16. For which reason ye shall not write nor engrave my words until I come in judgment of the world. So, and right there it shows too that not all laws were written down. Some tribes were carrying oral laws. So sometimes when people bring up debates and they talk about bring up the facts, some facts can't be proven because they were never written down. They were orally carried out. And this is proof of a situation like this. So if you was to research to try to find the history or the facts of this, it'll be hard or it'll be non-existent because they never wrote down on tablets nor stone. It was orally carried down. I just wanted to bring that out. Now, God's first book, chapter 5, verses 1 through 23. These are the laws of God given to Poe. Verse 1. The wise shall rule over the foolish, but to raise them up. Verse 2. The rich shall apportion their riches for the benefit of the city. Verse 3. The poor shall reverence the rich and take counsel from them. Verse 4. Behold, I have given many gifts unto my people, the woman to give suck, the very strong man to carry burden, the wise man to oversee the city, the learned man to explain the ancients, the prophets to hear my voice, the musician to hear the voice of angels, the physicians to heal the sick. Every several one give I good gifts. Verse 5. Thou shalt not covet another man's gift, but be wise in discovering thy own, and using them for the benefit of the city. Verse 6. Neither shalt thou covet another man's riches, nor anything that is his. What more is a rich man than a watchdog? Behold, it is his matter whether he fulfill my commandment. Verse 7. According to every man's gift do I require of him, as to what he can do for the people of his city. Verse 8. To the poor man, my exceptions are lighter than a straw on a camel's back. Verse 9. For the ignorant man and for the very young child I provide the wise and rich as gods to raise them up. As they minister unto them, so do I bless them for their labor. Verse 10. What they do corporally for the resurrection of those beneath them, so do I answer them in spirit in my resurrection in the heavens. Verse 11. Thou shalt not marry but once, neither shalt thou take after any other partner all the days of thy life. Verse 12. The husband shall be the master of the house, but when he is not present, the wife shall be master. Verse 13. 7 castes have I made for my chosen. The first are the prophets, the second such as have the highest genealogy, the third the rabbi and priest, the fourth the nuns, the fifth the physicians, sixth the rich, seventh the very poor. Verse 14. Each and every caste shall remain by itself. All of them are worthy before me, and are equally my children. Verse 15. Thou shalt not kill for food to eat, anything that breathes the breath of life. Verse 16. Thou shalt love to search for thy Creator in all things, on the earth and in the earth, and in the water and in the air above the earth. Verse 17. Thou shalt love to search for all that is good in thy neighbor, but to excuse all the evil that is in him. Verse 18. Thou shalt keep the sacred days of God, and cause all thy people to rejoice in the delightful creation of thy Creator. Verse 19. Thou shalt obey the prophet of thy God, and be obedient to the father of the city. Next to these, thou shalt honor thy father and mother, and pay reverence to thy grandfather and grandmother. Verse 20. In the temple of thy God, remember that all men are alike. For even as death layeth the high and the low alike, so stand my people in the house I have built. Verse 21. Thou shalt respect the opinions of all men, for even thyself may be in error. Verse 22. Thou shalt speak but little of thyself, or anything that is thine, for all others have a story also. Verse 23. Thou shalt make thyself compatible unto others in all righteousness. Now, God's first book, chapter 6, verse 1 through 16, concerning cities and governments. Verse 1. To reinstate the Zarathustrian law, the largest city shall not exceed 2,000 souls, and the smallest shall be 10 families, except they are celibates, in which case a city may be as small as 8 souls, having 1 rabbi or priest. Verse 2. The best, highest learned man who shall be a celibate shall be the priest and ruler of the city, and the sins of the people of the city shall be upon his head. But if it be a large city, he may choose 1 or as many as 6 priests to rule with him, and in that case the sin of the city shall be upon them. Verse 3. When the matter come up, the priest shall call whom he will to speak thereon, and when they have spoken, he shall decree his highest law, and that shall be the law without repeal, except by himself. Verse 4. It shall be lawful for the governor, who is the chief priest, prior to death, to repeal all his laws, so that his successor shall make new laws. For no man shall be bound after death by his own laws, in which case he could not come back and repeal them. Verse 5. But as regardeth the laws a governor or a chief priest makes, while he rules over a city and over all persons whom he hath ruled during his lifetime, he shall be responsible for them, both in this world and the next. For if a priest or a governor make a law of darkness, and his people live by that law, their souls will be in darkness in the next world through his fault, and he shall answer to them